With my buddy Doug hanging out at the Dairy Queen up in St. George, Utah, on the newsletter this week. Doug, what have you? Hey, what's on special at the Dairy Queen this morning?
Yeah, you seem to think I'm over there all the time. I never.
Oh,
go there.
I know. They got your name on your own stool over there. Don't give me that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we got a busy newsletter this week. What are some
do.
of the highlights? What do you want to start with?
Well, let's start off. Our featured story this week is from the Firearms Policy Coalition, and they are jumping all over the AG Rob Bonta, or however you pronounce it, in California about the concealed carry issues under the state's mandate. His statements that the carry right may not be denied by non-objective criteria applied by a local government official. Now, what that means is this guy is trying to get in there and stop that right to conceal carry. That's what he's trying to do.
Of course.
Even though it's been mandated. Under the licensing agreement or regimen in California, it requires citizens to convince a government official that they deserve a license based on their circumstances. This sounds a lot like New York, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what they're attempting to put in place when, in fact, the Supreme Court says, hey, there is no restrictions. You can open carry or conceal carry. Typical California. Here we go.
Oh,
but
yeah.
nonetheless, the FPC is going to sue this AG relentlessly if he doesn't get off this soapbox. Well, there you go. Across the nation, Don, West Coast, man, there's a lot going on in terms of salmon fishing, sockeye, Chinook, etc.
Did you say sockeye? Sockeye.
What's that, bud?
Sockeye? That's what I got when I was
Yep.
teaching martial arts. But anyway, that's a story for another time.
Well, the sockeye is on the Columbia River, and in Idaho, you got the same thing going up. What's the name of the big river there? I can't remember off the top of my head. At any rate, it's a big deal. This is the time of year they're running up the rivers. In North Dakota, they now have mussel-sniffing dogs. Now, specifically, this is for a walleye tournament that they're starting here not too soon. I got to look up to see. I don't know.
Well, that's really not a new deal. They've got those dogs trained to do or sniff out quagga mussels and zebra mussels, and this has been going on for quite a while. And Lord knows what
I didn't know that
they're able to sniff out.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm sure they can, but obviously they have to be trained to do that. But that's interesting. You can eat more easily as an official, determine whether a boat's got mussels on it or not as it comes out the water or in the water. There you go. Hey, as we move down, up in Colorado, there's a new program or service, if you want to call it that, similar to what I would call an Airbnb, where fishermen can purchase access to Colorado River or any rivers that border private property. Where they couldn't fish before, now they can buy it. They can get out there. But that's a new function or, service that's being provided.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll spread around the
Yeah,
country.
I call that extortion, but go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I love this one. Up in Utah, and we're talking about Park City, Utah, is the annual World Elk Calling Championship. There's a $50,000 cash prize.
Wow.
So, yeah, really. Some information in the newsletter about where, when, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know if our buddy J.K. goes up to those. Do you know?
I don't think he does necessarily. These guys kind of focus in on bugling and JK is probably, without a doubt, one of the finest elk whisperers that I've ever seen out here in the West. But he uses cow calls and calf calls.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been
we
with
had him on the show.
We'll get him in here again. We need to get him in here and talk about some other things as well. But he does a good job, and I don't know that he's a bugler as such.
I don't know. I know he was on when he was on the show. This was years ago. We had him on a previous radio show doing those calls, and he is good at what he does. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Hey, under the title of Guns and Ammo, wow, if you need a handgun for snakes and backyard pests, guess what? The 410, this is the Judge, and I think you have one of those.
I do, but I have I don't have the snub nose version. I've got the one with the 6-inch barrel, and that shoots a 45 long Colt and a 410 shotgun shell. Awesome weapon, absolutely.
Oh yes, so does this one. The snub nose allows you to run 45 long Colt or 410. Anyway, it was one of those things where, hey, if you're having pest problems, it's a good gun.
Well, that's true. The 6-inch will let you reach out there accurately at distance.
Sure.
That little snub nose, that barrel's, I don't think it's any longer than an inch long. You'd be lucky to hit a pop bottle at 20 yards.
For sure, you'd have to get a little closer. Nonetheless, in Colorado, 120 years ago, a fish called yellowfin cutthroat trout went extinct. But lo and behold, they're back. They don't know how they got back into some of these waters. Actually, they went to a lake called Twin Lakes, which is east of Aspen, and they found some of these fish. Whoa, that's new for extinction.
Okay,
somehow
that contradicts the term extinct, because if they went extinct, they wouldn't be back. They're just gone.
That's right. They were just out of sight. Right?
Yeah, so they were hiding under a rock someplace.
Well, I assume so. No one's ever caught one in 120 years. All right. Under the wildlife category, guess what? They are, meaning they, Duke University, is looking to come up with a poisonous anti-venom treatment by pill.
For the snake bites.
Yeah, and they haven't come out with it. I mean, it's not on the market yet, but the enthusiasm for its ability to, number one, cut down on the cost to go to a hospital to get this kind of stuff, right?
Well, forgive the cost. Is it any more life-saving than the current antivenom?
Well, the key to this, Don, is it can be administered right there on site when bitten. So if it's got any power in the medication at all, it acts immediately, as opposed to another hour down the road or whatever it is to get to a hospital.
Okay, I'll take a half a bottle. Yep.
Yeah. So it's good to know. We'll follow up on this as developments occur.
Yeah. Well, here's a little footnote. According to the WHO, the WHO. God, I hate the WHO. After what they did to us with COVID-19, they say there's an estimated 2.7 million people getting bitten by venomous snakes around the world. And of that 2.7 million, they're talking about venomous snakes killing 81,000 and 138,000 annually. And 3 times that many with disabilities. I mean, these snake bites are brutal. Rattlesnakes are one thing, but when you get the snake that starts destroying soft tissues in muscle tissues,
right.
It just if you live, you're going to limp.
Yeah, I think about countries like India, Africa, Australia
Oh,
that have some of the most venomous snakes on the planet.
Yep.
No question about it. So, lastly, look, as kind of a comedy type thing, this is kind of interesting to me. Um, the Silver Dollar Saloon, and this is up in Montana. Exactly what town, I'm not sure. Had a moose walking on its roof. Now, the only way that it can occur is if that
Okay, back
roof,
up. Excuse me. A moose on the
yeah,
roof?
yeah, yeah. And this is the third time it's happened. All right. And the only way they would ever have access to that roof is if that roof is contiguous with solid ground. And apparently it must be. I couldn't figure that out.
Well,
So there you
maybe
go.
they had a stepladder. Come on.
I don't know about that, but I don't know how that moose has to get on and off somehow. So it has to be something of that nature. Anyway, there's some new products out, but of interest, I guess, to people specifically. A live sonar and boat control, and that's made by Humminbird.
Humminbird has
Bondar.
come a long
Now,
ways. Yeah. I mean,
oh yeah,
I've run Lowrance all of my career, but I got to tell you, Lowrance has made some huge leaps and bounds in their technology.
you bet, you bet. That's about it, Don.
Okay, well, good job. I'm going to have to go read about the snake bite pill. That's pretty intriguing. And
Yeah,
as soon as
I'll
that's
keep on-
available,
I'll-
that is going to be in my first aid bag.
you bet, you bet. And for any outdoorsman at all, gee whiz. But I'll keep an eye on it, see what happens on the development of that.
Yeah, 10-4. That's going to be good information to have.
And,
Okay.
And next week, Don, I'm gonna do some updates on Meade and Powell, where we're at, what's going on, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're getting down to critical mass, and this monsoon's not helping any. All right, folks, if
No.
you don't get Doug's hard work on the newsletter, sign up for that at huntingfishing.com and get plugged in on what's happening as points of interest if you're an outdoorsman, hunter, angler, outdoor recreator. I'm Don McDowell. Doug's at the Dairy Queen, and